What's good?
What's good?
We're back. Hope everyone's doing alright. Basically, all we're going to be doing today, which is something I love to do when I'm finished a track, is we're going to break down my track with DZ Ultimate Team. Once again, the reason I do this, these are the type of videos for people who you sort of know how to make music already, and you know how to sound design and make sounds and melodies and stuff, but you sort of struggle with arranging stuff. You don't know how to get started. You don't know what to do for an intro, etc., etc. I used to do that shit all the time. So over the 3 years I've been making music, the first year was tutorials and stuff. The second year was then just learning how to sound design and then make melodies and shit and getting good at it. And then the past 6 months I've been practicing then how to arrange music. So you can see what I mean. So you don't do all of that together because your brain will get over flooded. You wouldn't be able to do it. So let's dive right in, eh? So we're gonna have a look at it here, and let me just check my levels. Hold up. Okay, cool. So once again, I don't know how many times I'm going to emphasize this, guys, but this was really simple to make. It may not sound simple when you first listen to it, but it really is. So this whole track started off with the bass line. This. That's how I started the whole track. And because I remember I was doing some sound design, and as you can see, guys, I do recommend you do your sound design session in a different session. I even did my vocal recording with DZ in a separate session. And then I had to do the original FLP, and then I did this second FLP, which was when I started the mix again. So those things are going to happen, you know what I mean? So don't be scared to sort of reset yourself, because to be quite frank, I think it's very hard to make a whole song to your liking in one go. That would be very difficult. So I was doing the sound design, and I've got the growls here and stuff. And I remember I had a couple of growls I was granulizing, and I'll open a sound design project later. And I remember I was like, man, fuck. How can I get this started now? I've got some growls. What do I do? And then I had this bass line, and I was trying to make a melody over it and stuff, but it just wasn't working. I was like, man, fuck. I was like, this is really funky, and then I'm making pianos and stuff that have just taken away the funk from it. So that's when I just light bulb. I said, why don't I just fucking leave the bass line on its own, and I'll see if DZ can just rap to the bass line. And a lot of the time most rappers do just rap to bass guitars and shit, so it's normal. So there you go. I ended up then just doing this intro. Let's get it. We've got this bass line and the offbeat, and this is in the key of an F natural minor.
We're gonna give him something funky.
So basically, I've got the same hi-hats as the drops, right? Which I don't tend to do, but all I did was just volume automate, because the hi-hats were fine in the drop, but they were too loud in the intro. So simple fix, you put a volume automation on your hi-hat bus if you use a bus, this is why I recommend using buses, because things like this are very easy fixes. So yeah, intro, as you can see, guys, so simple. Kick. I've got a kick again on the 4th bar. Bang, bang.
We're gonna give him.
Okay, and then I've got a different kick here, which I'm going to explain now for what I did for DZ's verse. So yeah, And then same thing, guys. I just got some effects, a couple of things automating in, like the little funk part and the ARP automating in. That's it. That's the intro done. Now, back in the day, I would have sat here and gone, "Oh my god, man, this is not enough stuff. Like I need to put more stuff." Blah 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 blah. But you know, yeah, I can't stress enough what I mean by keeping things simple. Like it's gonna sound a lot better. You know what I mean? And then, like I said, it's easy to mix. So this intro was extremely easy for me to mix. Now, we lead into verse 1, right? So like I said,
We're gonna give him something funky.
and the vocals are funny. This is just me fucking around.
La 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 la.
I'm trying to copy the key of the bass.
La la la.
You full hear me go for it, but I was meant to go lower, dun, not higher. Yeah, I don't think anyone got that, but there was just me and DZ were just fucking having a laugh. It was funny as that day in the studio. Boom,
We're gonna give him something funky.
Glisten and gleam. We shining like beacons of hope, navigating the seas. Massive esteem, so massive when actively chopping them seas. Breaking my making.
Now, don't stress. This week, I'm going to be doing a couple of tutorials on vocals, and I'm going to explain some things like how I got the vocals so clear, so clean, how you can hear them over the beat, etc. So I'll explain that later this week. But yeah, so I had essentially just sent DZ this, right? Verse 1. I sent him this. So we'll just mute the vocals for a second. I sent him this. And once again, guys, it's just the same thing. It's just that same bass line with the ARP. Now I just introduced an ARP. And this little funk thing. Now the whole thing about that was because let's be honest, like this is funky. This sub bass is funky. So I knew straight away. I was like, all right, I've got to keep that going through the song because otherwise I'm going to take away like the shine of this sub bass if I don't help like navigate it through, you know what I mean? So I then just sort of laid it up with this little funk thing. I think it's just an Omnisphere preset, and together you just get this like incredibly funky piece of funk. Yeah. Now, why did I change the drums? I originally had sent these as dubstep drums, right? So I had these drums going over the intro. But then once we did the vocals, I was having a bit of an issue where the dubstep drums were way too heavy for the vocals, and the sidechain, the vocals were getting sidechained too much. So every time the kick
and gleam. We shining like beacons of hope, navigating this.
every time the kick and snare hit, you couldn't hear what he was saying, that word. So example, the first word is
Glisten and gleam.
glisten and gleam. So when the kick hit,
Glisten and gleam.
you couldn't hear glisten. It was going like listen and gleam, like because the sidechain. So I was like, fuck. What do I do? And then light bulb, change the drums. Don't make them so heavy. Turn down the sidechain a little bit. And that's why I love ducking, which is another technique I'm going to explain in another video, where I've got, this is getting ducked right when it's playing.
Glisten and gleam. We shining like beacons of hope, navigating the seas. Massive esteem, so massive when actively chopping them seas. Breaking them, making them weak.
What the hell? Hold on. Yeah, here we go. Sorry, guys.
What I am dishing is something that you can't achieve. Take it from me.
So you can see what I've got here. I've got an intro sidechain, right? My intro drums are getting sidechained in this bus. And then I've got my normal dubstep drums are getting sidechained in this bus. And that's the best, and I love it. It's now my favorite technique because you can literally have 4 different sidechain buses sidechaining all different things to how you want them. So it took me a little bit of time to figure that out, but I fixed it. And once again, other than that, I didn't add anything else, so I didn't kill the mix. I just added some sound effects and some ad libs. If you don't know what an ad lib is, it's a very like popular in hip hop, where, you know, the rappers rapping,
Glistening gleam, we shining like beacons.
and you've got little like chants in the background,
Right.
little layers.
Break them and making them weak.
Break 'em, I'm making them weak.
So they're called ad libs. So I did the ad libs with DZ. He did the recording.
Navigating the seas, massive esteem. So massive when actively chopping them seas. Break 'em, I'm making them weak. What I am dishing is something that you can't achieve. Take it from me. Smashing his ultimate brother like Mario Link. Bowser indeed.
That's essentially it. We did the verse. Did it in like a couple of hours, pretty easy. And then now we're leading into the breakdown, right? So
I'm a wolf and I'm haunting your dreams. So do not proceed, cause the anger were easy for woken the beast.
a little tip you can use for leading into like a new section of a song is you just sort of switch it up. So here you can see I take out the drums, I take out some hi-hats.
Haunting your dreams. So do not proceed,
Bang,
cause the anger
bang,
were easy
no
for
drum.
woken the beast. This damage I bring.
Boom, clap. And then here I've just got this random pluck I just thought would be like cool, just to introduce something different. Random as doesn't really make any sense, but in context it does make sense. So ready?
Beast. This damage I bring. Any spot that I'm spitting that hockey mask before I pull them apart.
So breakdown. He actually had a second verse that he gave to me for the breakdown, but when I tried to mix it and stuff, it sort of didn't really make it didn't make sense anymore. So I just took the vocals out. You get creative. So always remember when you're working with a vocalist and stuff, right? Essentially, can you hear me scratching my beard? Essentially, you know, you're the engineer. So if it's not working and you don't think it makes sense, let him know. Like, hey, I'm going to take the vocals out, or I'm going to do this, or can you send me the vocals again? Blah, 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 blah. You know, you're the engineer. Like, you're like the captain of the ship, if you want to call it that. See, whereas, you know, DZ's my brother, so we have a different relationship. Like, we just sort of, like, we do this together, so, like, we just, like, sort of fuck around. But if you're working seriously with, like, a vocalist from, like, overseas and you're sending each other stuff, you got to tell them, hey, sorry, but your vocal for this build-up is not working. It's really bringing down the track. Can we try something else? Or, you know what I mean? So I took out his vocal and just sort of made, like, a little breakdown part here.
Any spot that I'm spitting that hockey mask before I pull them apart. Jason Moe when I hop in the car, also swerving on the way to the booth. Bloodthirsty, I can smell of the food, feeling full better burst
Build
to the
up.
scene. Any spot that I'm spitting that hockey mask.
Now, this is my favorite because I love to do this. I've got a lead that's on such soft volume. I think, like, to a normal person, you probably wouldn't be able to hear it. But to a producer, I'm sure you guys heard it. You got this in the background. And it really just, I don't know, I just love it. It really, for me, adds that whole, like, melodic, like, vibe to the track, even though it's not a melodic song at all. So, and I know there's going to be someone out there who goes, but man, why would you do that if it's not a melodic track? It's just my style. Like, I love to do that. So,
The
bang,
food, feeling full better burst to the scene.
bang,
Spot that I'm
drums.
spitting that hockey mask before.
And I've got some snare rolls just in the pattern here. Easy. Once again, build up kick. Always use a different kick, guys. Always use a different kick.
Spot
Yeah.
that I'm spitting that hockey mask before I pull them apart. Jason Moe when I hop in the car, also swerving on the way to the booth. Also swerving on the way to the booth. Also swerving on the way to the booth.
Bang.
FFDZ with the ultimate T.
Boom. So that's that. I'll do this video in 2 parts, so the video is not so long and boring for everyone. But yeah, so as you can see, that's all I did for that. Really, like I said, nice and simple, guys. And essentially, this track for me was so good to do because this is where I really did practice how to keep everything simple, but you just make it sound as best you can. So yeah, we'll get into the drop in part 2. See you later.